Hi everybody, welcome out to the Magic Garden. How is everybody out there doing? I hope everybody's gearing up to get ready to go back to work, because I know this quarantine is driving me nuts, but luckily I've been able to spend like the last 4 days between a farm garden and my own garden, and I've gotten so much done. But even more so, it's really helped me with my mental status. It's helped me with my lung problems. As some of you know, I've been kind of going through some pretty rough health stuff, mainly not knowing what's going on with me, and it took a toll for a little while. So I appreciate you guys walking through that journey with me. But I am feeling much better, and I'm ready to get back to work and get this garden finished. In order for me to do that, though, I have got to reline my bean box from last year. Now, as some of you guys know, I had a neighbor's cat that just tore shit on one of my boxes and just used the other one as a, well, I used them both as a damn bathroom, and when that happens, you have to take out all the soil, all the lining, and sterilize it, or it's not going to be any good. Dog and cat feces and urine has a lot of funkies in it you do not want in your vegetables, so it's been kind of a challenge to get that done. But I thought, you know what, let's turn something really ugly into something beautiful, and I'll show you guys how it is I lined my boxes. Now, if you'd like to know how it is that I built this particular box, I did forget that I blogged about this on DIY at thebeehive.online. There you can go step by step with me, and I can show you how I built this box out of 2 pallets and a frame that would normally go on top of the stuff on a pallet to kind of keep it all in order and get it shipped without damage. I just cut that in half, and I used part of the ends, and I put a couple of boards down at the bottom to kind of give me a little bit of support, and I'm going to do my best to kind of show that to you. So forgive this because it's not the easiest thing in the world, but if you can look down there, I just put a couple of boards down there to really give me some stability. And I call this one my ghetto box because it was the first one I ever built. It's cool. It did the trick. I mean, who would have thought that a couple of pallet ends and some weed guard, man, a hell of a garden box. But guess what? Made a hell of a garden box. So I actually have enough dirt and soil to get this bad boy filled, and so let's get to figuring out how to line this bad boy, okay? Be right back. Okay, so by no means am I a professional, guys. The idea of this isn't to be professional or perfect, it's to give something a shot you've never tried before. And I had never built a box in my entire life, so the fact that a year later the damn thing's still strong and I can still sit in the middle of it goes to show you that sometimes you don't need to know what you're doing, you just need to do it. With that said, you guys, I got this huge roll of fabric guard from Grocery Outlet. I was really impressed with my local grocery outlet because they seem to have just about everything you need for a garden and stuff you don't need but really want. And well, it's at a damn good price. I got this whole thing I think for like $4 at the end of last season. Best thing I ever did. Well, one of the things that helped me out a lot last year was the fact that you know, I kind of just went in it with what's the worst that's going to happen, and well, nothing bad happened. So, you know, giving things a shot you've never done before, man, it's a little scary, but once you do it, I mean, you'll get over yourself pretty quick. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to measure, I'm not really even going to measure it out. I'm just going to roll out what I think I need, and a whole lot, probably more than that. Cut this down a bit. I'll try to speed up some of this stuff so it doesn't bore the hell out of all you all, but basically I just took this liner, right? And I wanted to double it because I found this stuff is super, super strong. But guys, I got a lot of dirt that has to go into this thing, so I need to make sure that I can hold it all. So I just doubled this thing over, and what I did was I took the edges of it and I just kind of folded them amongst themselves, just to kind of give it a strong, you know, a couple of plies for it to go. And I'm going to do 2 of these pieces of fabric, because what I'm going to do is do 1 layer, and I'm going to make sure that I have it on all 3 sides here and at the bottom, and then I'm going to overlap another piece here, and then I'm going to lay another piece down at the bottom just to make sure that I have that stability. So again, I'm just going to fold over the corners here so that I have a place to actually staple my stuff down. Once I have this pretty much in place where I think I'm going to want it, now I'm just going to go ahead and staple it into place. Okay guys, so what I'm really trying to do, and I'm not trying to do anything within perfection here, is I'm honest to God just trying to get this whole side lined and the bottom portion lined. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cloth over really nice so it's got a really thick edge to it, and I'm just going to lay this as flat and as straight as I possibly can on the side of my pallet. I'm going to take my handy dandy, I just wish that I had one that didn't require a wire, but hey, I'm lucky to have what I got. So I'm just going to take this bad boy and I'm going to staple this down like every few inches, because you really are trying to get the best stable position for this cloth if possible. This is really going to provide the stability for the sides of your wall. So I'm not going to worry about looping this all the way over to the side, because what I really want to do is I kind of want to have one layer on top of another, and then I'm going to lay a flat piece here to be able to cover up the front and the back to make one big gigantic bag. So with that said, I'm going to do the same thing over here, and I'm going to take this cloth and I'm going to double it over quite a bit actually. You see, there's a lot here. And I'm double this over, and I'm going to go ahead and stick it to the bottom right here. Make sure that on this side that you're actually leaving a little bit of room for it to bulge, because this, your dirt's heavy, man, like straight heavy, and you're going to need, in that bag, you're going to need some stability there, so make sure that you have some room for a little bit of a little bit of bulging, and then too, that'll help when you water, that way it actually has room to expand. Once you have that in place, like I said, staple it down really well, just every few inches or so to make sure that you've got, you know, good stability in there. You're going to do this all the way down on both sides here, and I'm going to go ahead and get this piece done, and then I'll come back and show you the next piece I've got. Okay, so I think while I'm in the process of getting this here nailed down, we're going to go check in with Sally Drew and see what's going on over at the Dragonfly Farm. Alright, we'll see you soon.
Good afternoon from Dragonfly Farm. It is Saturday, April 18th, and I wanted to do a little bit of a walkthrough on our seedlings. We tried to video how we got them all started, and that didn't work real well. So let's move forward with, with taking care of business here and getting to what's gone on since we've gotten them on the rack. And I'm going to show you a quick look at my rack. I built this. It's got four sets of lights, 4 lights on it. It is got 2 heat pads, and I wanted to show you the one heat pad here on the table. There we go. And this plugs in. I actually have 2 of these, but this is where I start my cold crops. And that has made a huge difference, Okay, we'll just keep going here. I'll scan over. This is our basils. These are our basils. Now, the basils are a warm crop, so I did start them, got them germinated on the heat mats. I also got my peppers started on the heat mats. on the heat mats. There you go. And some moonflowers. Marigolds, not so much. Don't necessarily need marigolds to hit the heat mat. So our big task today is the squash. Now, our squash are absolutely amazing. So let me back this up so you can really see what's going on here. So this is, I can't read it, it's too far down. But anyway, we started them in toilet paper rolls. And the reason we did this was A, they're compostable. B, Mom saved a lot of them. And C, we thought, well, we don't want the roots to be disturbed. So if we plant them in these, we'll just plant them straight in the ground. Well, after a week, this is what we have. And they're not going to make it. We're going to lose them if we don't repot them. So these are going into their own pots today. As you can see, there's pots here, and we've got more soil, and we're going to get those in pots. So, and possibly, as you can see here, also are cucumbers. Cucumbers are tall, they're getting a touch leggy, so we're going to repot them. They do have 2 leaves. I'm hoping you're seeing this. 2 leaves. And this is good. My squash don't necessarily, they've got just the start on some of these of their second leaf, but we're going to try it. Oh, there's one. That's 2 leaves. So that's fantastic. Next we have up here, we have all of our tomatoes, and they're looking pretty good. I saw some dampening off on a couple of my peppers, so it's time to stop watering heavily. It's time to back off, put a little bit of water in their tray, let them dry, the top layer dry off a little bit, and then we will be starting to give them a light mist of fish fertilizer mixture in a spray bottle. So this is our starting section of the house. And we also have on the shelf here, we have some petunias on the mat and some true lavender. And I noticed this afternoon we have one little start in there. So I'm going to keep them covered and on the heat mat, and we're just going to keep rolling with them. And our bok choy. And bok choy is always awesome. So as we move forward, we'll let you know how things go. We hope you guys all have a great afternoon. Keep gardening. There's lots to do indoors, even when it's not letting you get outdoors to have to dig in the dirt. There's lots of dirt that can be had indoors. So, peace out and take her easy. Stay home, stay safe, grow the big grow.
Okay, so I kind of know that this might get lost in translation because it's all black, but what I did was I cut the exact same length for a second piece of fabric, and I've already started to fold over the sides of this. I'm going to line this side just like I did the other side, all the way across, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave again some room to kind of make it a bag. You got to allow your soil to expand. So when it gets really warm outside and the water in your soil starts to absorb, well, it's going to compact, but when it gets wet or colder, it's going to expand. So you're going to need to allow a little bit of room. I mean, this stuff isn't exactly flexible, it's just super strong. So you want to make absolutely sure that you've got, like I said, when you double it up, that you've got some stability there. Because this, again, is going to hold a lot of weight. Again, I love this thing. Oh my god. I think this is the best damn thing on the planet, man. This is like one of my very first power tools, and it just makes you feel good. Yes, it does. So, this time I actually remembered to turn on the gas, and because, again, I already have staples in this, I'm going to do my best not to hit the old staples. And you might have to go back in and kind of nail some of these down because these are definitely your stability shots, and you want to make sure that these staples are really, really in there. So I'm just going to do a couple, as you saw. I'm going to do the whole edge all the way down, and then again, I'm not going to worry about placing any part of it up against this edge piece. What I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to make that bag, lay it as flat as I possibly can to make sure it's overlapping the first piece of fabric that I did. And then I'm just going to nail the bitch down. Now I'm going to get this thing in place, and then I'm going to show you how to do the very last piece, and then we're going to get dirty in this thing. Alright guys, I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm finding this a little more difficult than I expected. You can see my professionalism is really coming in today, y'all. But so our original piece we lapped over this way so that we had, you know, the left side, and we could left a little bit of room, and then all I did was re-lap over a piece over the top of that to make the right side. Now, I've taken a piece of this fabric guard and I've doubled it over again, and I'm going to take this, and use it for not just this side, but the bottom and the back as well, to create that bag I've been telling you about. So I am going to just place this where I think it should go. Grab my sides, again turning over those sides that aren't fitting together to make a bag. But for the most part, it's fairly cinchy. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put this on the other side and try to make it as aesthetically pleasing as possible. Luckily, I got plants on this other side, my herbs and stuff, so I'm going to really kind of cover this up. Nobody's really going to notice it anyway. And again, there's no perfection here. Just do it. I'm actually going to staple all the way across this, so alright, and then I'm going to come in, you guys, and I'm just going to kind of lay this. I want to make sure that I get a staple right here, or a few up at the top and maybe on the side, because this, despite the fact that it creates a bag, is still going to need its stability for the side. So, let's staple it in place. Okay, now I'm going to do this on both sides, and then I'll be right back and I'll show you how I do this on the other end. So I'm going to go ahead and finish stapling this down. I'm going to make sure that I've got a really nice folded edge up over here. Because I have those two supporting beams down at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and put a few staples on the back, making sure that, of course, I've allowed for that room here in the corner, making sure that it's a complete total square. Here's my philosophy with a nail gun. If it can be nailed down, nail it down. That's all I'm saying. Like, it just provides more stability, and the truth is, you can't do it too much. So, guys, I'm about ready to start putting dirt in this thing. I have a combination of mulch. I've got some compost I've been working on all year. I've got some topsoil, some old soil, and a whole bunch of things I'm going to mix in this. But I know an expert that knows everything about dirt. That's right. He is here to talk dirty to us. So, hey, Jimmy, talk dirty to me.
Hey, Bonnie and Sally, this is Jimmy, just standing next to the pool and the garage. Just wanted to give you a little bit of a tour and discuss some of the difficulties I have with my house. You guys have a little bit more land than I do. I am, as you can see by my backyard neighbor, quite the penned-in one. So, when they say spring cleaning, they mean it. This is my garden shed. That is patio furniture stuff and our solar hot water heater for the pool. But there's all of my tools from my house my in-laws' house, from my mother's house, and from stepmom number 9, or whatever number she was. I forgot to carry the 3. So that is my garden shed, built right after we moved in. So let's take you on a tour of a residential property. If you look over there, that's my neighbor. She's from Germany, and she and I refuse to speak to each other because she's a gardening addict and so am I. So we want to respect that with each other. But the house came with some roses and some boxwoods that I had to cut back, as you'll see when we round the corner. Hi, Roo. Hey, Roo. Say hello. Meow. Oh, well, he's not talking today, but he'll probably show up in the video. There's my little car squishy. But, you know, I had to trim this back. If you could see on the cement, the dark line is what was exposed, and the light colored line was what all of this bush was coming into. So it looks bad when you trim it like that. It needed to be trimmed often. But as the spring progresses, and I'll keep you up to date, this will clean itself up. Now, I'm not even going to show you in the garage. Too many people might be jealous or want me to clean it up. I already have to clean up my car. One of the first things I did on the property, and I'm not a guy for flowers, my specialty is soil, veg, but I tell you what, these tulips are simply amazing. And they bring joy to the neighbors, and I've put some in with my wife's bedroom because she is currently sequestered from the rest of the house. But let me tell you the main problem I have. As you look down my street, as you look that way, that is due south, which means that my house is facing southwest. And if you look, the larger part of my property is behind me, and is simply grass, which I will fix soon enough. Ignore the garage. So you come up to the house. Now if you have, like we have, an area of really crappy soil, you can actually find plants that thrive on that. And in our case, we just put in these artichokes. Now, those marigolds and pansies are going to go somewhere else. But 2 nice big artichokes. They really love this crappy soil for some reason. I guess it reminds them of California. It's sandy soil. We did put in some Bimart brand outside dirt here, so that gets us going pretty good. I notice I'm already coming on the 4-minute mark, so let me clear this up, speed things up. These 2 cement things were sitting on our front porch, where you can see the stains on the cement. And because we have such a massive overhang on the front of the house, anything that was in need of rain or in need of routine watering. There's Roo checking it out, making sure you're seen in the video. So we call him Roo. He has 2 Oregon Ducks O's on his side. He has a brother named Tigger, just tiger stripes. So last year I attempted pumpkins here, and it did not work out well. Again, this is crappy soil with a roof overhang that is just dastardly. So I'm probably going to have to dig this out. And again, facing almost due south, we have this beautiful maple tree here that is kind of fun. That is the watering system I had for the pumpkins last year. And that is going into the major major transition we have here. These 2 garden beds up here, so this is garden bed 1, that's garden bed 2 now, we're in the back against the far wall, and as you can see, it's incredibly shady. And when we get closer, I'll tell you what we're doing with those spots. But I planted sunflowers and a couple different kinds of those and a couple different kinds of pumpkins just the other day in bed 1. And in the center will be Brussels sprouts. But Katie is obsessed with Halloween. So I want to bring the pumpkins out and into the grass here. And oh no, if I kill grass, oh no. My neighbor has these trees of some sort dividing us. Nice neighbors. Now over here, this is going to be tomatoes. And I'll show you my tomato starts in a minute. But by using black plastic, I am warming up the soil much warmer than it would have been if I just left it alone. Black plastic will raise it a good 15 degrees. White row cover will raise temperatures about 7 degrees. So if you have frosty mornings, you can protect with white row cloth. Those fans of my Facebook page who saw it 5 years ago and saw me build this gutter garden will lament the fact that we're going to tear it all apart in the next coming weeks. I am going to still use the gutters, but I'm going to use them for starts. I saw some really nice videos online. Now this is bed number 3, and last year we had potatoes in what is now bed number 4. And as crop rotation rules apply, you shouldn't have the same crop in the same year. Bee on my arm. In the same planter year after year. It'll just kill it off. So this is where the potatoes are going this year. We're actually going to dig it low, plant the potatoes, and as they come up a little bit, and you get a couple of 2-3 lines of leaves on them, we'll bury the bottom leaf. And we'll keep doing that until this is completely mounded over. And what happens is each of those leaves turns into a potato run. So you can actually create more potatoes by doing it that way, instead of just sticking it in the ground in one spot and then hoping it gets all the way around. This way you can actually increase your yield. We did not do that last year, and we had a huge yield anyway, so I'm a little concerned. Now, I'm a little disabled, and by a little I mean a lot. I'm a paraplegic, but I suck at it. I'm already walking around. You already saw me trip it up a little bit. So I use tools around the garden, like this rolly chair with a farm stool on it. Junior tends to put things upside down as soon as he can to keep water out of them. That's actually waterproof. So this is bed number 4. And what's going in here is we have a niece from Texas. She likes herself some snap peas. Junior likes himself some beets. And then we'll just find something else to go along in there. And one important tool that you see sitting in here is this. This is a garden soil temperature thermometer. And as you can see, it's currently reading 50 degrees for the air. But let's put it right here in the soil. I'm trying to not spin too fast. Let's do a few more things and then come back to it and see what the sun has done to the soil. As we already determined, it was 50 degrees in the shade. But what temperature is the soil when the sun hits it? Especially after only hitting it for about 30 minutes. All right. Again, the gutter garden. Now over here is a bee house and what looks like a bird bath with a bunch of stones in it. And I will explain that in a later episode about fertilizers. And up here, we have one of those bookshelf greenhouses. And I don't really have any plastic over it because I had the wrong size. I did wrap it in moving plastic, but that was a little difficult to work with. And as you can see by the PVC starter pots, and I will explain those in another episode later, I've got some tomatoes, Brussels sprouts, and beets started. Again, Junior likes his beets. I am not a fan. Now over here was where his bed, the 2 beds out in front were. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a compost bin in here, which I will explain in an upcoming episode. And over here, we've now created a flower bed because all along this section here is our memory garden. You see a plaque down there with a candle above it. We lost my father-in-law a couple years ago, and we've recently lost one of my brothers and recently lost my mom. And that's kind of a little place where we put flowers and little mementos about them. The butterfly that's flying against the fence there, the metal one, is from my mom. And the bumblebee that's up there was a gift from my son during the holidays. But right here, the flowers are important because, and I'm trying to avoid underneath my porch, as you come over here back to the bees, I'm trying to bring some pollinators together. As well as, you saw over here, feeding the birds. And you got to feed them far enough away from the fence so that other animals, I will not name names, do not decide to get them as the feeders are near the fence. As my father-in-law said, well, it'll feed two animals. So coming down here, let's see if I can do this without tripping on the camera or falling all over the place. Well, I failed. Okay. Our contractor did not put steps in. I do have tomato cages, but as the tomatoes get heavy, they fall over. So I use these on the four corners of the tomato bed, which, as you remember, is number 2. And that will help stabilize that with the metal that you see up there. And coming around here, we have some of our sprinkler stuff. There's my mom's memorial butterfly. And there, for some reason, a frog always reminds me of our son. So I like to have frogs around. And I saw this from my grandmother's garden in my mom's garden. So 2 generations of memories, I suppose. And as we come along here, there's the plaque and a hummingbird and a battery-powered candle. What I do with the smoker when I'm not cooking is I like to burn wood, paper, and cardboard and pine cones, and that adds potash to the soil, which is really fantastic for things that like it more acidic, like strawberries. Right in here. We had a big old tree when we first moved in. We took that out. And now there's a sign of this is Strawberry Fields Forever. The forever is a little light colored, so maybe you can or can't see it. And this is 3 different kinds of strawberries. So we have the standard everbearing that you would expect to find in a strawberry field forever. But also, we've got the bubblegum kind and the pineapple tasting kind. And none of them are showing yet any berries. So I can't really get into that, but maybe in another season or episode. And back there is a flower, and I think that's one of the pineapple flavored ones. And then over here, going back, there's the swimming pool and the garden shed. So the challenges are pretty, astounding. But you can still grow anything you want with the right kind of planning. So thank you for allowing me to share this with you. Come back for future episodes of Talk Dirty to Me. And stay safe and stay home.
Alright guys, so I kind of wanted to show you the end result. Like, I have a complete bag of weed guard. I mean, within like 2 pallets and 2 pallet ends, and this, but in all reality, you guys, it really doesn't take much. I mean, I must have spent like $2 on this whole project, and it got me through an entire season. Now, if you can see at the very, very end, I do have some staples that I'm going to have to redo, but I mean, outside of that, I laid down some topsoil that I got from the store, but I'm starting to notice, you see some of this white stuff, guys, that's probably mildew from it sitting outside and most likely mildewing over the last couple of weeks, sitting in the sun or the cold or whatever Mother Nature brought to us in the parking lot. So I'm gonna have to disinfect this. Okay, so Fairy Elixir, as I've told you before, is like, a half a teaspoon of hydrogen peroxide in a spray bottle of water, and basically I'm just going to spray the crap out of this because it's actually going to be the bottom part of my soil, so I'm not going to be too worried about it like burning my leaves or any of my roots. Actually, if anything, it's going to irrigate it, it's going to sanitize it, and it's going to make things a lot better. Okay guys, so I used compost that I got from the store, chicken manure, I used some topsoil, some soil that I already had that I just reconstituted, I used some Epsom salt, I used some of this organic lime The slime will actually help put some calcium and, you know, even out the pH balance, which we'll get into in a different day. And just a whole lot of love. And I'm going to go ahead and pack this. So this is going to be the basis of my next box. I'm not really sure what we're going to do with it, but at least now it's clean, sanitized, and all the dirt in there is going to be good for whatever I do. Just want to thank all of you guys for coming on and supporting us here at the Magic Garden. If you have any questions for myself, Sally, Jimmy, please comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and ding that little bell down there so you know when we upload our next video. We're trying to become more constant with this. We have a better plan as to how we'd like to attack it with the Magic Garden expanding. And guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe, because when you subscribe or you comment below, you are engaging in a network of a whole lot of folks just trying to learn to deal with the life we're living in. And right now we need to learn to stick together, build our own garden, get our hands dirty, get out there. Don't let the mental get to you, and whatever you do, come on back for the next episode. Until then,